Good night. This is Cutting Edge on RFM. You're listening to Grace Jones with Sly and Robbie from them time there. For those of you who don't know, Grace Jones come from Jamaica. I don't remember for Clarendon she come from, you know. But she is the most successful female artist come out of Jamaica. Big actor from them time, the Conan and the Barbarian. Conan the Barbarian with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Go straight up to James Bond movie. Big hits. Sly and Robbie was part of our team in them days there. She still about, yeah man, between Yasso and, I want to say Yasso, I mean like Ochi, between Ochi and Europe. She still about. You know, Black Euro was the first group to get a reggae Grammy. Yes, Black Euro. Sly and Robbie still about as Sly and Robbie. I know that group of Black Euro is not about again. The sister named Puma died years ago. And, you know, Michael Rose take him own vibes, gone and solo career, and Ducky Simpson. One of the time I think them would have come forward, but it wasn't to be. Yeah, one time yeah, Junior Reid was lead singing. Yes. This is the Cutting Edge on RFM. We have a very interesting program lineup. We don't want to start off yet because we're supposed to connect with the Caribbean Premier League T20 competition over there in, I wish part them I call from, Nevis? I wish part them there. Okay, them a play St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots, but we don't know which part them a play from. But we need to find out where them a play now. Anyway, everybody's anticipating this zone of operation, you know, so I like them start get diarrhea. It's like the whole Jamaica they on a diarrhea thing because everybody are wait on this zone. Them no easy, you know. Them have you just tighten up yourself, you know. Every part of you tighten up. Because you want to know what them coming with after so much murders on the land. The land is drenched in blood. If you don't mind sharp, the earth go and cry out, and you don't want the earth cry and all start to sneeze and cough and all them something there. Because you know anytime the earth start cough and sneeze, terrible thing. But there is a karma. For those of you who believe in a karma and know say karma is something that projects itself outwards. So even though somebody might have something internally and don't bring it out, but the karma that them project cause you to really feel them spirit. Yeah, man, you can know certain people when they walk in a house, them give off a certain karma. And you start to feel funny, strange and weird when them step in. Some people presence just make you just smile. Some people presence make you just vex. Karma. We want to go over now to what we call the Caribbean Premier League T20 competition.
The Sporting Choice Ira FM now brings you a report on the Hero Caribbean Premier League cricket competition. It is brought to you by the Hero Caribbean Premier League, the biggest party in sport, which runs from August 4 to September 9, 2017.
Deals and Delivery Hardware, Martin Christie Street, Great Pond, Ocho Rios. Telephone 974-3377. The Everything Hardware and more. Mongoose Restaurant and Lounge, 52 Main Street, Ocho Rios, 622-6942. More than a restaurant, it's an experience. Bullhead Spring Water, Knox Road, Spalding, 964-2070, just natural. Distinction College, 206 Main Street, Ocho Rios, 3564167. Now registering for CXC, nursing and hospitality courses. Contract music marketing, promoting Grammy winners Morgan Heritage and their new album, Avracadabra, now available online. Fontana Pharmacies, Music Mart and Tough Gun Outlets. Total Tools Rental, Main Street, Ocho Rios, Slipe Road, Kingston and Port Antonio, Portland. Why buy the tools you can rent? Big tools, small tools, rent from Total Tools. Wheels Used Parts, Chuck's Plaza, Ocho Rios. Grand Yard Sale, August 10 to 12 on Japanese used parts from a pin to an anchor. Prices drastically reduced. Everything must go.
Contractor Music Marketing, promoting U.S. Virgin Island reggae star Revelation with his new single, Gather Around.
Portland Jerk Center, 12 Harbour Street, Port Antonio. Today's special, a quarter jerk chicken 3 festival, $400. Real deal, quarter jerk chicken 4 festival and a soda, $500.
Jamlink Recording and Production. Listen to the new release by artist Big Pop entitled We Are One, distributed by Zojak, available on YouTube and all online digital stores. For booking, call us at 344-6455. Contender Jerk Center and Sports Lounge, overlooking the Western Sea at Bluefields Bay, Westmoreland. Check out our Sunday cruise with a free brunch special every Sunday at 2 p.m. Call us at 304-9106. Contractor Music Marketing, promoting Mexico's Black Star Band with their hit single and video, Shake You Down.
The new Car Mart, 33 Foreshore Road, Port Antonio, Portland. We take the hassle from you, going all over to buy your vehicle with our reasonable price Japanese and American cars and trucks. Telephone 874-8989. And Ocho Rios Parts Center, Main Street, Ocho Rios. 10% off Isuzu and Costa parts. Special discount on genuine front wheel bearing for flat screen highs. 24-volt LED and HID bulbs and white grease bearings for Corolla front wheels.
Over to Andrew Mason at Sabina Park. Yes, sir.
Yes, 157 for 7 to the Jamaica Tallows. And listen to this. The St. Kitts Nevis pictures 116. So it meant that the Tallows are victorious. And that's very good news indeed by 41 runs. Had a situation where Simmons was out the first ball by Cottrell for Duck. Philip Smith, 31. Sangakkar, very important, 69. McCarthy got 2, and Powell really batted well for 43. That got the Tallows up to 157 for 7 from the 20 overs. Cottrell 4 overs, no wins, 2 for 38. Then we had a situation where Santi 4 overs, no wins, 1 for 27. Nabi 4 overs, no wins, 1 for 24. And Afis 4 overs, no wins, done for 15 were, in fact, the tight bowlers. Now, in terms of the St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots, well, they were off to a poor start. Gale was leg before for Duck. That was a very big wicket get. Lewis got 40. Afis got 21. Thomas 14. Carter 3. Braffett 7. Nabi 4. Hilton Osmond 7. Badgie 7. Cottrell got 2. Tamsi 2. 116 all out in 17 overs and 5 balls. And a situation where you had a very, very good piece of bowling by the Tallows with Thomas 4 overs, no wins, 3 for 31. Santoki 3 overs and 5 balls, White Bredon 3 for 10. Beautiful bowling indeed. And we had Stanley 3 overs, no wins, 2 for 30. Williams 3 overs, no wins, 1 for 25. And Mamadou 4 overs, no wins, done for 18. The top bowlers that were, in fact, used. So it was a very good victory indeed for the Jamaica Tallows, and they must be extremely happy against the St. Kitts Nevis Patriots, a side that really and truly was a side that was very difficult to beat, and the Tallows must be very happy about that victory. So scores, the Tallows 157 for 5, and the response, the St. Kitts Nevis Patriots 116 17 overs and 5 balls, it turned out to be a very important victory by 44 runs. Well, on Friday, it's the turn of the Followers to play against the Warriors of Guyana, and that now puts them in a very, very strong position with Followers. In fact, a good crowd turned up at Sabina Park, and I expect on Friday to have a very good crowd as well. Andrew Mason for the final time from Sabina Park.
That was a report on the Hero Caribbean Premier League cricket competition. It came to you courtesy of the Hero Caribbean Premier League, the biggest party in sport, which runs from August 4 to September 9, 2017.
Deals and Delivery Hardware, Martin Christie Street, Great Pond, Ocho Rios. Telephone 974-3377. The Everything Hardware and more. Mongoose Restaurant and Lounge, 52 Main Street, Ocho Rios. 622-6942. More than a restaurant, it's an experience. Bullhead Spring Water, Knox Road, Spalding, 964-2070. Just Natural. Distinction College, 206 Main Street, Ocho Rios. 3564167. Now registering for CXC Nursing and Hospitality courses. Contract Music Marketing, promoting Grammy winners Morgan Heritage and their new album Abracadabra. Now available online. Fontana Pharmacies, Music Mart and Tough Gun Outlets. Total Tools Rental, Main Street, Ocho Rios, Slipe Road, Kingston and Port Antonio, Portland. Why buy the tools you can rent? Big tools, small tools, rent from Total Tools. Wheels Used Parts, Chuck's Plaza, Ocho Rios. Grand Yard Sale, August 10 to 12 on Japanese used parts from a pin to an anchor. Prices drastically reduced. Everything must go.
Contractor Music Marketing, promoting U.S. Virgin Island reggae star Revelation with his new single, Gather Around.
Portland Jerk Center, 12 Harbor Street, Port Antonio. Today's special, a quarter jerk chicken 3 festival, $400. Real deal, quarter jerk chicken 4 festival and a soda, $500.
Jamlink Recording and Production. Listen to the new release by artist Big Pop entitled We Are One, distributed by Zojak, available on YouTube and all online digital stores. For booking, call us at 344-6455. Contender Jerk Center and Sports Lounge, overlooking the Western Sea at Bluefields Bay, Westmoreland. Check out our Sunday cruise with a free brunch special every Sunday at 2 p.m. Call us at 304-9106. Contractor Music Marketing, promoting Mexico's Black Star Band with their hit single and video, Shake You Down.
The new Car Mart, 33 Foreshore Road, Port Antonio, Portland. We take the hassle from you, going all over to buy your vehicle with our reasonable price Japanese and American cars and trucks. Telephone 874-8989. And Ocho Rios Parts Center, Main Street, Ocho Rios. 10% off Isuzu and Costa parts. Special discount on genuine front wheel bearing for flat screen highs. 24-volt LED and HID bulbs and white grease bearings for Corolla front wheels.
Yes, may I tell you. Marathon. Okay. So there with you. Inside the outside is Sanjay. This is the cutting edge.
For several years, the Israeli government was forcibly administering birth control to a segment of its minority population, with doctors injecting Ethiopian Jewish women against their will with a contraceptive, Depo-Provera. But it wasn't until this January that a government official finally acknowledged it. One investigative journalist who interviewed 35 Ethiopian immigrants found that they were being intimidated and threatened into taking the shots, while being told that they were merely inoculations. But many speculate it was all part of a deliberate attempt to restrict an expanding minority in the country. You see, over the last 2 decades, Israel has experienced a significant influx of Ethiopian immigrants. But they're now being close to 130,000 living in the country. And while the government has finally put an end to this inhumane, insane population control tactic, the story has shed a light on a dangerous contraceptive that's now being pushed and administered on women of color all over the world, including right here in the U.S. So here to talk about the use of Depo-Provera and how this is targeting minority populations in both here and abroad, I'm joined now by Randy Short, President and National Spokesperson for the Anti-Depo-Provera Clergy Coalition. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
So Israel allegedly put this to an end. Can you talk about what you know about the health effects, though? Because obviously women were being administered this for years without
Yes.
knowing about them.
Well, the drug was first patented in 1959. By the middle 60s, there were a lot of unethical experimentations done, in particular the Grady Clinic study in Georgia on poor black and poor white women. God knows how many people died. This drug did not get approved until 1993-94, but during that time that was used on women all over. The effects of it are serious. Excessive bleeding, osteoporosis, breast cancer, cervical cancer, heart attack, stroke, ectopic pregnancies, excessive weight gain, which can lead to type 1 or 2 diabetes, short or long-term infertility, maternal death. It strips the epithelium, the inner part of the woman's womb, making her more susceptible to all STIs and STDs. Therefore, doubling the chances of getting HIV, AIDS, chlamydia, HPV, gonorrhea, or syphilis. And there are other things that bothers the mental health. One of the things that's come to us, that the group that I work with, the Rebecca Project, is that many women are telling us that they've had mental problems. The FDA in 2004 was so concerned about the dangerous nature of Depo-Provera that they issued a black box warning, which is the most serious warning that can be issued by the FDA about how dangerous this drug is.
And despite this warning, this black box warning, it's still being administered under multiple agencies to multiple countries around the world.
Yes.
Who is administering it? Why? And where?
Well, it's being used primarily in non-white countries. So Muslim countries, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Indonesia, Burma, possibly on the Myanmar minority, all over Africa, Central America and Latin America. And of course, in the United States, depending on whose information you look at, it's disproportionately used on African American women. Who's doing it? Planned Parenthood is one of the big purveyors of it. In addition to that, you have the Population Council, you have the International Federation of Planned Parenthood, you have a lot of persons and groups that have a Malthusian view that there are too many people, and therefore they want to reduce the population. They know this drug is deadly, it's cheap, and it makes huge profits for the parent maker, which is Pfizer.
And USAID is also one of the agencies as well.
For 47 years, it's been an unofficial policy of the USAID Office on Population to use or to send abroad dangerous, unsafe, untested, or unapproved drugs.
And you said that this is being obviously disproportionately affecting minority populations.
Yes.
If they know that it's deadly, why would they be administering it to minority populations? I mean, what is really this all about here?
There are too many non-white people. If you look at a gentleman by the name of Dr. Ravenholt, who was head of the USAID Office on Population from about 1966 until 1979, he was able to first convince President Johnson that it was in the national and commercial interests of the United States that 1/4 of the women in the developing world be sterilized. So there's some sense that if there are too many black or brown people, that somehow their needs will conflict with the capitalistic, imperialistic aims of the United States and its allies.
And there's been multiple lawsuits against Pfizer for the detrimental health effects from this drug, but they seem to be getting away with it and seem to keep, direct-to-consumer advertising. Well, how are they doing this?
Well, they're making a lot of money. The U.S. Department of Justice has sued them in the last 10 years and fined them about $6 billion. But if you're making billions and billions, it's the price of doing business. But you have to understand, the people that are being steered towards this drug are poor. They lack education and legal representation, and they're being tricked, so they don't know. Now, you have to understand, Pfizer lost in Canada. They've lost in Europe. But they go to countries where they can't be sued. You can't sue from Nigeria here. You can't sue from Mozambique here. So you can go to countries where you either have a corrupt government structure or they're coerced, or should I say they've constructively manipulated into having this drug as part of their international foreign aid. Do you see what I'm saying? So the women become just chess pieces in a Malthusian eugenics game.
And so you think this goes beyond just a corporation making as much money as it can, pushing it on as many people as it can. You think it actually goes down to, this is a modern day form of eugenics, I would say.
And genocide, yes.
And it's happening here in the U.S. as well.
Yes, it is.
Well, That's very shocking, and we'll definitely follow up with this story. Very disturbing. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for your time. Randy Short, President, National Spokesperson.
And I'm with
You
the
are
Rebecca
listening to
Project
Muta
on Human Rights.
Absolutely.
All
Thank
right,
you so
thank
much.
you. All right.
You are listening to Mutabaruka.
Do you want a better Africa? Believe it or not, for Africa to change, the way religion is delivered must change. Churches should stop preaching about miracles and breakthroughs. Popular preaching such as sowing a seed or, give and it shall be given unto you, have been misinterpreted for personal gain. No wonder pastors of today are so rich and yet the whole congregation and people around them remain poor. We are stuck with a generation of Africans who act as if God is the rewarder of laziness and poverty. The message churches send is that it is possible to reap where you did not sow, meaning you can get something out of nothing. Why should a child choose to learn the hard way if there is an easier way? The live for today attitude does not create wealth and people die without living any legacy. You then sit and wonder why Africa is the way it is today? The gospel of prosperity should be shamed and work around the fact that laziness can never reap real success. Christianity has played a very big role to the fall of Africa today, but that is not what it is intended for. Spreading messages of instant success have led to a generation of people who are thirsty for instant results, immediate relief, and effortless profit. The messages should not just focus of tithing and sowing seed, blessings, miracles, breakthroughs, and wonders. Churches should stop glorifying riches acquired through miraculous sources, stop preaching fear and stop focusing on what the devil or witches did, does, or will do. Instead they should preach positive news and focus on messages that add value to the communities such as hard work, creativity, dedication, commitment, perseverance, and responsibility. Pastors can promote good community initiatives such as cleaning the surroundings, and encourage creativity and innovation. Instead of waiting for our governments to do what they do not do, we can start helping ourselves, through humanism. The brother who becomes a millionaire by simply sowing a seed, does not help build a better community, and the message of such success should not be spread and showcased. Instead the applause should go to someone who has succeeded by hard work and perseverance. Start preaching the gospel of working hard, produce goods and services, planning, critical thinking analysis, strategy, visibility plans, system building, market and customer analysis, and the process involved in production of goods and services. This is how noble people and wealth is created. Rushing a sick person to church for prayers does not prevent that person from dying, but correct medication and treatment will. Haven't you wondered why people in Africa still died of Ebola despite prayers? Preach the real word of God instead. You do not need the pastor's blessings to create wealth in life. Wealth and clean cities don't come by miracle or magic. Religious superstitions, such as the shout of, "I receive it," and the loudest shout of, "Amen," is not enough to fulfill your wishes. True religion and true Christianity must, and can only, produce productive youth. For Africa to be globally competitive, education alone is not enough. We need to nurture creativity, innovation, and good governance. What is an engineering degree doing if you cannot even produce a water pump? Ask yourself a question: what have other people created with a similar qualification other than just looking for a job? Please, be slow to anger, slow to judge, quick to listen and try to understand. If not for you, do it for your children.
You are listening to Mutabaruka.
Yeah, this is the cutting edge. We're giving you clips and more clips. Very interesting one about the different things that them injecting and making the pharmaceutical companies them doing for women of color who is pregnant or who not supposed to get pregnant. Terrible thing. I don't know. Man mind is so warped that this idea when people talk about Christian God, where he make everything and him in control. Why, if him in control and the thing I go so Well, I like when him not in control. Believe you me. Because things no level at all. Things no level. Things no level. Believe you me, things no level. So, okay, we go to Pat Clark. Last week, Pat Clark featured Amy Ashwood Garvey. And we know, say, from she go say Amy Ashwood, she have to talk about Amy Jakes too. So said, so done. Pat Clark.
Welcome to Jamaican Roots and Culture. I'm Pat Clark. As we honor our first national hero, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, it is indeed fitting to look at the women who played a significant role in his life. Garvey was married twice to women with the first name Amy. Amy Euphemia Jakes Garvey was the Jamaican-born second wife of Marcus Garvey. She was a journalist and activist in her own rights. Amy Jakes was one of the pioneering black women journalists and publishers of the 20th century. She was also an activist. Amy Jakes went to New York City in 1917 and soon after became involved with the publishing of the Negro World newspaper in Harlem from its inception in August 1918. Amy Euphemia Jakes Garvey was born on December 31st, 1895 in Kingston, Jamaica. As the eldest child of George Samuel and Charlotte Henrietta Jakes, Amy was raised in a middle-class home. Her mother was half white and her father was a dark-skinned black man. Amy Jakes was a part of a small minority of Jamaican youth to attend high school. She attended Wolmer's School. Amy lived in a time when it was common for most black Jamaicans to be poor and illiterate farmers. Upon graduating school and receiving some of the highest honors of the time, Amy Jakes was recruited to work at a law firm. She worked there for 4 years, ultimately gaining knowledge of the legal system. Amy Jakes then left for the United States in 1918. She promised her employer and mother that she would return in 3 months if conditions in the U.S. were not suitable to her. However, Amy did not return. It has been argued that she did not return because she was enthralled by Garveyism. Amy Jakes allegedly attended a conference being held by Marcus and was moved by his words. Jakes soon after assumed the role of Marcus Garvey's private secretary and worked alongside him at the UNIA. Just several months after marrying Marcus Garvey, Amy Jakes Garvey began editing Volume 1 of the Philosophy and Opinions of Marcus Garvey, a compilation of Marcus's writings and speeches. Her initial purpose in editing this journal was to provide a means for the general public to form their own opinion about Marcus Garvey and Garveyism without the stigma provided by biased sources of the time. Amy's place in both the movement and the organization soon shifted, instead taking a back seat to her husband and working in the shadows to strengthen his platform. Amy became a face of the UNIA and a representation of the females of this organization. In her book Garvey and Garveyism, Amy Jakes Garvey alleges that a significant amount of Garvey's speeches were a direct result of her own work, whether it be the crafting of specific lines or the research that went into it. In this book, Amy describes how Marcus implored her to read through front-page articles and other prominent news sources and explain their importance to him. After gathering the information he needed, he would then use it for his own speeches. Amy Jakes Garvey was said to have been an excellent speaker, having toured the country with and without her husband. Amy Jakes Garvey, however, did not pose an initial threat to Marcus Garvey, given her strong beliefs in her position as his wife and the structure of the organization. Amy took a back seat, as did other women in the UNIA. In light of unforeseen circumstances, Amy Jakes was forced to assume a lead role in the UNIA. Marcus was convicted for mail fraud on the 21st of June 1923, less than a year after marrying Amy Jakes. After being convicted, he was sent to Tom's Prison in upstate New York, where he spent 3 months before being released on bond. While in prison, Marcus failed to win his appeals and as a direct result was sentenced on February 8, 1925 to 5 years in Atlanta Federal Penitentiary. It is at that time that Amy Jakes Garvey assumed leadership of the UNIA. In addition to speaking all over the country to raise money for Garvey's Defense Fund, she edited and published Volume 2 of the Philosophy and Opinions of Marcus Garvey, 2 volumes of his poetry, The Tragedy of White Injustice, and selections from the Poetic Meditations of Marcus Garvey. While doing this, she worked tirelessly with lawyers to get her husband out of jail and kept UNIA moving forward by delivering speeches and meeting with the leadership of the group occasionally. After her husband was deported in 1927, Amy Jakes Garvey went with him to Jamaica. They had 2 sons, Marcus Mosiah Garvey Jr. and Julius Winston Garvey. She remained with their children in Jamaica when Garvey moved to England in 1935. After his death in 1940, Amy Jakes Garvey was a contributing editor to a journal called The African, published in Harlem, and in the late 1940s, she formed the African Study Circle of the World in Jamaica. She published her own book, Garvey and Garveyism, in 1963, as well as a booklet, Black Power in America, The Power of the Human Spirit, in 1968. Amy Jakes Garvey also assisted John Henry Clark in editing Marcus Garvey and the Vision of Africa. Her final work was The Philosophy and Opinions of Marcus Garvey, Volume 3. She was awarded the Musgrave Medal in 1971. Amy Jakes Garvey died on July 25, 1973, in her native Kingston, Jamaica, and was interred in the churchyard of St. Andrew's Parish Church. And now, to end Jamaican roots and culture, here's our famous quotation from the Black diaspora. A people without knowledge of their past history and culture are like a tree without roots. The words of Marcus Mosiah Garvey. For Jamaican Roots and Culture, I'm Pat Clark.
I want to know, say, you have to listen to these things, because there's some serious roots and culture information that is being presented here on this program. It gone past school, and university. We have plans for all of these, I want to tell you, so we have, so we have Sanjay, so we have plans for the series. Yeah, we have plans for this series, yeah. We have to put everything together and make it available, because the research by Pat is phenomenal, man. We give thanks. We give thanks to the other Clark, too. The other Clark. We give thanks. So here we know. Yes, that's how it go.
Energy Vision 2030, making electricity from our own resources. Already, 16% of our electricity generating capacity in Jamaica comes from the sun, wind, and our rivers, with more coming all the time. The more energy we produce from our own natural resources, the less we depend on imported oil. Energy Vision 2030, clean, sustainable energy for all Jamaicans.
Yes, cutting edge. A while ago we play a little xylophone singing Heal the World. We're going to continue the little girl vibes. Listen to this.
Hello, I'm Severin Suzuki speaking for ECHO, the Environmental Children's Organization. We're a group of 12 and 13-year-olds trying to make a difference. Vanessa Setti, Morgan Geisler, Michelle Quigg, and me. We've raised all the money to come here ourselves, to come 5,000 miles to tell you adults you must change your ways. Coming up here today, I have no hidden agenda. I am fighting for my future. Losing my future is not like losing an election or a few points on the stock market. I am here to speak for all generations to come. I am here to speak on behalf of the starving children around the world whose cries go unheard. I am here to speak for the countless animals dying across this planet because they have nowhere left to go. I am afraid to go out in the sun now because of the holes in our ozone. I am afraid to breathe the air because I don't know what chemicals are in it. I used to go fishing in Vancouver, my home, with my dad, until just a few years ago we found the fish full of cancers. And now we hear of animals and plants going extinct every day, vanishing forever. In my life, I have dreamt of seeing the great herds of wild animals, jungles and rainforests full of birds and butterflies. But now I wonder if they will even exist for my children to see. Did you have to worry of these things when you were my age? All this is happening before our eyes, and yet we act as if we have all the time we want and all the solutions. I'm only a child, and I don't have all the solutions. But I want you to realize, neither do you. You don't know how to fix the holes in our ozone layer. You don't know how to bring the salmon back up in a dead stream. You don't know how to bring back an animal now extinct. And you can't bring back the forest that once grew where there is now a desert. If you don't know how to fix it, please stop breaking it. Here, you may be delegates of your government, business people, organizers, reporters, or politicians, but really, your mothers and fathers, sisters and brothers, aunts and uncles, and all of you are someone's child. I'm only a child, yet I know we are all part of a family, 5 billion strong. In fact, 30 million species strong. And borders and governments will never change that. I'm only a child, yet I know we are all in this together and should act as one single world towards one single goal. In my anger, I am not blind, and in my fear, I am not afraid of telling the world how I feel. In my country, we make so much waste. We buy and throw away, buy and throw away, buy and throw away, and yet northern countries will not share with the needy. Even when we have more than enough, we are afraid to share. We are afraid to let go of some of our wealth. In Canada, we live the privileged life, with plenty of food, water, and shelter. We have watches, bicycles, computers, and television sets. The list could go on for 2 days. 2 days ago, here in Brazil, we were shocked when we spent time with some children living on the streets. This is what one child told us. I wish I was rich. And if I were, I would give all the street children food, clothes, medicines, shelter, and love and affection. If a child on the streets who has nothing is willing to share, why are we who have everything still so greedy? I can't stop thinking that these are children my own age, that it makes a tremendous difference where you are born. That I could be one of those children living in the favelas of Rio. I could be a child starving in Somalia, or a victim of war in the Middle East, or a beggar in India. I am only a child, yet I know if all the money spent on war was spent on finding environmental answers, ending poverty, and finding treaties, what a wonderful place this earth would be. At school, even in kindergarten, you teach us how to behave in the world. You teach us not to fight with others, to work things out, to respect others, to clean up our mess, not to hurt other creatures, to share, not be greedy. Then why do you go out and do the things you tell us not to do? Do not forget why you are attending these conferences, who you're doing this for. We are your own children. You are deciding what kind of a world we are growing up in. Parents should be able to comfort their children by saying, everything's going to be all right. It's not the end of the world, and we're doing the best we can. But I don't think you can say that to us anymore. Are we even on your list of priorities? My dad always says, you are what you do, not what you say. Well, what you do makes me cry at night. You grown-ups say you love us, but I challenge you, please, make your actions reflect your words. Thank you.
You are listening to Mutabaruka.
Yeah, we want to tell you that the Garvey musical, slated for Thursday, August the 31st, has been postponed. It will no longer be playing at the end of this month. The production has now been rescheduled for Wednesday, October the 11th, at the same venue, the Little Theatre. Show time is 8 p.m. Ticket prices remain the same. So we want you to know that that is taking place. The Garvey musical slated for Thursday, which is tomorrow, will now be kept on Wednesday, October the 11th, at the same venue, 8 p.m. regular. The price is regular 1,000, VIP 2,500. Okay. Here we go. Listen.
Now, on the line, we have with us Professor Francis Boyle. Dr. Boyle is a leading American expert in international law. He's responsible for drafting the Biological Weapons Anti-Terrorism Act of 1989, the American implementing legislation for the 1972 Biological Weapons Convention, and he's the author of a lot of books. But the one that we're interested in today is Biowarfare and Terrorism. We have him on the line, and welcome, Dr. Boyle.
Well, thank you, David, and my best to your viewing audience.
Thank you. Thank you for waiting. We had that breaking news that's very important that's going on there. But I wanted to ask you about the bioweapons labs that are in these African countries, because you know very well what's going on with the Biological Weapons Anti-Terrorism Act that you drafted there. Why are they putting these labs in those countries?
Well, it's very simple in try to circumvent the Biological Weapons Convention and my Biological Weapons Anti-Terrorism Act of 1989 that provides for life in prison. We have a BSL-4 in Guinea. We have one at the capital there, one in Liberia, Monrovia, and another one at Kenema in Sierra Leone. And they all do this dual-use offensive, defensive, biological warfare work. Guinea is never been a party to the Biological Weapons Convention. Liberia has never been a party. Sierra Leone is a party, but, you know, given the disturbances over there, I'm sure no one's been paying attention to what's been going on in these labs. However, I will point out, I drafted the my Biological Weapons Anti-Terrorism Act to make it extraterritorial by name, in Hague verba, so that these illegal criminal types of biowarfare work done in these labs by U.S. citizens can be prosecuted.
That's interesting. Now, as you pointed out, the CDC is there. Tulane University, anybody knows about the notorious Tuskegee test that ran for decades on black people with syphilis, not telling them that, not giving them treatment and just watching this develop for decades. Tulane University is there, as well as the CDC. So what is your take on this? Do you think this is something that was perhaps accidentally leaked out? Is this deliberate? Because it's interesting that this is a different strain, and it is thousands of miles away from where these are typically happening in Central Africa. This is now over in Western Africa. They want to say that it transmitted by passing through animals. I mean, why didn't we have any outbreaks in between those two different areas?
That's right. The standard explanation is completely nonsensical. I have here in front of me the Biological Defense Research Program of 1988, page Appendix 3-4, clearly says that the Center for Disease Control has been doing biological warfare work in Sierra Leone since 1988. And also Columbia University was doing biological warfare work in Liberia. And as I said, Liberia has never been a party to the BWC. Of course, this bat theory makes no sense at all. Right. It's clear that, in my opinion, the agent we're dealing with here of Ebola is 70% fatality, whereas all previous Ebola outbreaks had been 50%. And also, it appears that it has perhaps somehow been genetically modified to make it airborne to some extent. I recently sent to your assistant there a press release. The National Institutes of Health mated live Ebola with the virus for the common cold. And it very well might have been this type of vaccine that they were testing out over there at these BSL-4 facilities. We know that the Sierra Leone government shut down Kenema and accusing them of starting the pandemic with shots under the supervision of Tulane. And we know for a fact Tulane has been involved in biowarfare work for quite some time. We also know that Fort Detrick is over there. The Center for Disease Control is over there. These three labs were set up by USAID, which is a front organization for the CIA. So I think it's pretty clear these three labs, I suspect, were the origins of this pandemic, which has now come here to the United States. The CDC just said 21-day quarantine, but the WHO recommends 42-day quarantine. Mm-hmm. And even the 42-day quarantine only gets 98% of the people. So my guess is, we should really be talking about 50 days or more quarantine. And the question then is, why did they allow the 4,000 people on that cruise ship off? And according to yesterday's New York Times, there's no monitoring on any of them. Every other contact going back to Mr. Duncan is somehow being traced, contacted, quarantined, whatever. But the 4,000 people on that ship, no. And they could have easily just quarantined everyone on the ship right there. So I don't know exactly what to say about this, but it doesn't look good.
Well, we saw that in Nigeria. They've gone now the 42 days, and they haven't had another outbreak there. But they went through contact tracing. They had 900 people that they were looking at based on one person who flew into their country on an airplane, was very sick. 20 people caught it. 8 people died. And they had 900 people that they were looking at. We haven't seen anything like that. As you pointed out, we've got a situation where you've got this new strain of Ebola that they've never seen before that travels from an area where they've typically had it in Central Africa, 1,000 to 2,000 miles, and they want to tell us that it's been traveled, that they got there by bats. I mean, that's just not, that's not very credible, is it?
Well, even the New York Times reported that in 1976, that when Ebola was first discovered, the World Health Organization ordered it to be sent to Porton Down in the UK. That's their equivalent of Fort Detrick. So you can figure
Yes, this is the Cutting Edge on RFM. As you can hear, the man them talking about that time in Sierra Leone when the Ebola rose up there. But why I played is to tell you that there's something that is happening in Africa right now, as we speak, that it don't bust out yet, but they are at it again. Yeah, they are at it again. You're going to hear about it soon. They are at it again. Meanwhile, back in America, there's a flood that is taking place. I don't really like somebody. I am very naive to certain things. I will not say that most things I don't know. Most things I really don't know. But I really want to know. I really want to know. That is why I kind of try to keep an open mind on certain things, no matter what, even if I don't agree with the way in which it is done, said, or thought of. I keep an open mind. I am very open. Now, I am open to this education, that I really want somebody to tell me how it happened, how it worked. Recently, we had an eclipse. Well, not we. There was an eclipse, a total eclipse of the sun. When I say total, them say total. In other words, the moon go right in front of the sun and block out the sunlight. Now, can somebody please call me and tell me how is it that it's only in America this thing is seen? Nowhere else in the world not see it but America, between Seattle and down on the other side, so, southwest America. There must be an explanation that is credible. Because I don't want to get into a conspiracy theory with myself, because I know I can't sit down and just think up all sorts of things and then get very ridiculous in the thinking. But I would like somebody call me and tell me scientifically, don't tell me about say God put the thing there to show America this and show America that. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear say it did prophesy in the Bible, say the day would have come when the sun darkened, because that it happened before. And people superstitiously did believe these things. That's why I know say we have to really examine things and be open-minded, because if that did happen 1,000 years ago or 2,000 years ago, Jesus should have started fret. Because things like that happen already and people give it over to some supernatural or some alien this and alien that. But I want to know something as powerful as that happened, where the moon override the sun. I really want to understand it. I really want to and I don't want to understand it, as I say, from no little religious fanatical reasoning. I want to understand it from a scientific reason. How is it that this happened and it's only in America people see it, nowhere else in the world? So if you can call me and tell me, I would appreciate it very much, that I don't go to my bed and think stupid things. Yes, it's easy to think stupid things, especially in this time. Especially in this time, it's easy to think stupid. Okay, here we go. Yes, sir.
Yes, Mota.
Yeah, thank you for responding so quick, man.
Yeah, man, a chemical will get a peer over Marcus Garvey.
You give me the peer, oh, yes.
Yeah, man. All right. What really happened, Mota, is that it's a time of the eclipse. That's where the orbit reached at that particular time. The orbiting of the moon and the sun.
Yeah.
That's where it reached at the time, physically. So, at another point where the eclipse will occur, it can occur somewhere else, but it's a time where it reached to that point where it go in front of the sun on the orbit.
Yeah, well, I hear that them have eclipse followers where over a period of time, them go to next country and it happen in our next country. You know, I hear people that get interviewed and them say them always have follow up these eclipses in a certain places and certain countries. So you say the time of hello?
Yeah, man, me hear you.
Yeah, no, just repeat what you say again. Just repeat what you say.
It's a time that the eclipse is occurring because of the orbital, because you know the Earth and the moon and the sun is in orbit.
The sun in orbit?
At the time when the moon...
No, hold on, the sun is in orbit?
Yes, they're circling.
The sun
they're circling
in
orbit in the universe.
No, hold on, you know what orbit mean?
Orbit?
Yeah. What that's not the background there?
Not knowing in the background.
Let me not hear something that talk. Hear there. I mean that.
Oh, is a baby a ball somewhere far, man?
No, man, I no baby a ball that, man. What you say, man? Then I want to when me talk, me hear it.
Well, I'm not sure if I this phone signal.
Yeah, maybe the phone. All right. What me I say? The sun a orbit.
What?
Yeah. You say the sun a orbit.
Yes.
The sun orbit?
No, the Earth and the moon orbit.
Oh, because me hear you say when the sun, the moon, and the earth are orbit.
No.
Okay, so the moon and the earth are orbit.
Yes.
And then Tano?
Yeah, man. During the orbit, the movement, the motion, it is at the time when the moon is passing the sun. Because you know the motion brings about time.
No, me know what cause it, you know. Yeah, hold on there. Me know what cause the thing, you know. I want to know how is it that we just see it in America. It just happen in America. Me know what cause it. We know what cause the darkness and what cause the eclipse. You see, me know what cause the eclipse. You know, you can't have eclipse and the sun.
The reason why it's happening in America is because that is the time where the moon reached to that part
right,
at the sun where it apart.
Okay.
Yeah, man. Scientifically, that's the explanation for that.
Okay. All right. I can figure it out.
Yeah, man.
All right?
Yeah, man.
But trust me, though, it's that sounding at the back of my voice.
Okay.
No, baby.
Your voice.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, man.
Yes. What you say, Sanjay? You're not so scientific. You're not so scientific. Okay, she's not so scientific. Very interesting. Because it's not the first it happened, you know. And I hear them talk on the TV, and I hear some people, you know, it's like how people hunt. Them call them twisters in America. People run them down, you know, and go search for them and all them places. You know, why I tell you? No, why I tell you? You have people where see this thing are coming, you know, and instead of they go hide, you know, they want to go nearer to it to go take picture and all them someday. I'm going to see them think they'll lift up all cow. Them twister there. I'll lift up all cow and I fling them all over the place and car and all them someday. And people actually want to go near to see what would be the outcome of the thing. So I have to know, say you have people who go all over the world just to see these eclipses. I already love to see it still. But I know, say you have things in the, you have places in the Bible we talk of these things. But guess what? The thing about it is that the man them know exactly when it's going to happen, how long it's going to happen for, and when it's going to pass and them thing there. That are no Bible doctrine and faith. That a real man attack say, you see two things where him can create and me and you don't know how it reaches up. Them are going to tell you, say, it's going to happen this way and it happened that way there. You see, after people have studied certain stars and certain things, you know, because a man don't understand how the man them come to this knowledge, you know, them start to say, is either them some space object catch them or is some divine consciousness without exploring it scientifically. And we see the meteorological service or whosoever is responsible, the astronomers them in a NASA tell you exactly the precise moment when the thing are going to eclipse the whole sun, when it are going to move and all them something there. So science have a foundation and a basis which you can't take away from science. It's like mathematics. Everything can be calculated and become real through mathematical equations. Maths is where run everything. Mathematics run everything. Whether you look up at the sky, where you go underneath the ground, or whether you dip on the earth, mathematics is the key. It's the thing now that we didn't know mathematics when we was in Africa. And when we left Africa now, we put that aside for some reason or another. Maybe we never put it aside, but get leaked out of our head. And we take up other things, like killing each other. When the Egyptians them build the pyramid, and when in Zimbabwe these men use stone and build cities just without cement or anything like that, just catch stone on top of one another. Me go to Zimbabwe and me see a big rock catch on the edge and next rock. And you have to walk around the rock and try to figure out how it balance on the rock there. How this bigger than me, two of we put together. How the rock balance on the next rock. And it's not like something that catch it up. Because me know say, if you put even a square stone or a square box on top of the rock, it will drop off. And when you look, it's almost like the rock hardly have any touch for the next rock. Kingdom of stones, kingdom of rocks, Zimbabwe. And then them use stone and build mansions without cement. Without cement. I want to hear them say, without cement. Them build mansions with these rocks. Okay. Cutting Edge. Yes, this is the Cutting Edge on RFM. We there already I go through the pieces, just present you some like tidbits, information. Information is, you know, the reality is that information is where we win wars now. Yeah, man, that's why you have overt and covert. You have CIA, FBI, MI5. I mean, all of these little spy agencies, all them is there to do is gather information. That's why you have man hack companies now to see what is the new product them are going to bring out so them can make one before. If you have a Samsung and them say them going to bring out a Samsung where can talk to you and tell you if you're fat or you're slim, them just hack into that Samsung thing and you just see them start to bring out another one name, Ufa Father, and just make. So, information is very important. Some people prefer superstition because the lack of information leads to superstition. The lack of information leads to superstition because everything will look like a mystery. And when you say mystery now, it conjure up a whole heap of other things that is not human in its delivery or in its manifestation. So what you have is a group of people who, instead of them deal with evidence and them deal with knowledge and proof, them leave it over to superstition. That's why we get so uninspired nowadays, musically and otherwise. Because really and truly, it's information that leads to inspiration. And without information, your inspiration will be just superstition. So you're gone into some things where unbelievable that people think certain way. So we just explain to you that it is very important to get information, because information is what builds empires. Information, who can forget this story about the Trojan horse? And you mentioned that story all the while. You know what the Trojan horse, Sanjay? You know what the Trojan horse. Give thanks. The time is 12 o'clock.
One thing that keeps me puzzled, despite having studied finance and economics at the world's best universities, the following question remains unanswered. Why is it that 5,000 units of our currency is worth 1 unit of your currency, where we are the ones with the actual gold reserves? It's quite evident that the aid is in fact not coming from the West to Africa, but from Africa to the Western world. The Western world depends on Africa in every possible way, since alternative resources are scarce out here. So how does the West ensure that the free aid keeps coming? By systematically nations and their systems, and all that backed by huge PR campaigns, leaving the entire world under the impression that Africa is poor and dying and merely surviving on the mercy of the West. Well done, Oxfam, UNICEF, Red Cross, Life Aid, and all the other organizations that continuously run multi-million-dollar advertisement campaigns depicting charity porn to sustain that image of Africa globally. Ad campaigns paid for by innocent people under the impression to help with their donations. While one hand gives under the flashing lights of cameras, the other takes in the shadows. We all know the dollar is worthless, while the euro is merely charged with German intellect and technology. Italian pasta. How can one expect donations from nations that have so little? It's super sweet of you to come with your colored paper in exchange for our gold and diamonds. But instead, you should come empty-handed, filled with integrity and honor. We want to share with you our wealth and invite you to share with us. The perception is that a healthy and striving Africa would not disperse its resources as freely and cheaply, which is logical. Of course, it would instead sell its resources at world market prices, which in turn would destabilize and weaken Western economies, established on the post-colonial free meal system. Last year, the IMF reports that the fastest growing economies are in Africa, measured by their GDP growth. The French Treasury, for example, is receiving about $500 billion year in, year out in foreign exchange reserves from African countries based on colonial debt they forced them to pay. Former French President Jacques Chirac stated in an interview recently that we have to be honest and acknowledge that a big part of the money in our banks comes precisely from the exploitation of the African continent. In 2008, he stated that without Africa, France will slide down in the rank of a third world power. This is what happens in the human world, the world we have created. Have you ever wondered how things work in nature? One would assume that in evolution the fittest survives. However, in nature, any species that is overhunting, overexploiting the resources they depend on as nourishment, natural selection would sooner or later take the predator out because it offsets the balance.
The solar eclipse thing, you know?
Yeah. So what the brother did I say, I know so it go.
No, I'm kind of have a point where I say, them call the solar eclipse great. I think them call it Great American Eclipse. Them say last time it happened from 19.
Which part it did happen the last time?
The same America, man.
1919.
Yeah.
So it did happen in America before?
Yeah, man, 99 years ago.
And it happened in America again. So which part else in the world it happened?
Yeah, me sure them say them have European eclipse. I think them say them have basically Muta, it look like the America, 12 states of the America, 10 to 12 states alone can see the total eclipse.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And all of the
because you have people in America will never see it. Yeah, we
yeah,
know
them
that.
on go say maybe 60, because we out here we on go see 61% based on what the meteorologists say. Some states in America maybe, but some of them like 12 of them will fall in the middle or something. Them say 100% of that.
Yeah, me know what, but you tell me something when I see on the TV, you know. Me want to find out.
Your question you are asked, I say, why America alone? I think them say Europe have a total eclipse. I think 2018 next year.
Okay, them have it. Okay.
But like everywhere, somewhere you have a different. Maybe the Caribbean have fame on the next 100. We don't know about it. Like sometime every country, every hold on there.
Yeah. Me never say it can't happen in the next place, you know.
Yeah.
If it happen in the next place, if it happen in Jamaica, I say, I ask the same question. Why is it that?
Yeah, man, but 60% or 61%, we not get the full darkness. I don't know, as maybe the theory of the world round. Yeah. I don't know about maybe
that's why but you see, me now ask the question for somebody come tell me, say, him don't know like me.
Yeah, but technically, even scientists them can't go to explain it.
Yeah, man, them can't explain. Why you say, Bridget? They know them tell you say it will last 2 minutes and 40 seconds and it lasts 2 minutes and 40 seconds.
Yeah?
Or them tell you how long it will last and it lasts the same length of time there.
Yeah, man, but as I said, maybe I want to the meteorologists tomorrow you can put on a program section. Why I just them 12
well, but me just have figure say, man like all you is bright enough to tell me.
Now what me I tell you why the 12 states are alone seat and
yeah, me know, but me want to know why. Why is all right?
Not everything have a why.
Yeah, man. No, man, it have an explanation, Virgin. It have an explanation why it go here.
Yeah, me and you know. You
can't, but me don't agree, so me don't understand it already.
Yeah.
But you are coming like you understand it and I'm coming like the same pocket with me.
Yeah, but more than half an hour ago.
No, but you said there's no, everything have a why. Of course, it's why, it have a why. Because them explain it to you. It's from them knows it going to happen. And them can't tell you how long it going to happen. Them can't tell you why it happen.
Yeah, we never see it out here. We never see it?
That may I tell you, Bridget, but when I say, if it did happen in Jamaica, I would have asked the same question. I would have said, why is it that it's only in Jamaica you see it?
No, it happened out here, Mr. Muta, but 61%. We not see the full darkness. So maybe the next 100 years, 1,000 years, maybe.
Yeah, but when me there next 100 years, I would have asked the same question. Why is it that it's only in Jamaica after 100 years you see it? There must be a reason why.
So, I don't know why you ask a question.
Because I want to know. What you mean why I ask a question? Because
what you be like, you know, believe.
You think it's a trick question? No, man, wait a year now. I'm going to superstition now.
No, can you ask why happen to them? Why never happen to Europe? Why never happen to
No. Not Europe. Mother say why it never happen in America and how come it was happening in Europe?
Oh, so you want it happen everywhere like everybody?
No, me don't want nothing happen. Me want to know why it happened that way. Me don't want to know why it not happen or why it. Me want to know why it happened that way.
But I saw the earth, I saw the universe.
Hold on there. You remember me tell you already, so me don't want to develop no conspiracy theory in my head. You didn't hear me say that?
Yeah, man, but I don't know already. But I saw the universe run, man. We're not talking about me, it's not religious, so I know that me I talk about.
Yeah, but you still, you come like you in the same bracket with me.
No, but me know, so
You
I
can't
sometimes
answer the
see
why.
some things,
The
some
way you call
stars
me for
fall,
the
and
way you
I go
call
drop
me. You never
one,
hear
you
me
know?
say must call and talk about. Tell me the why. No, you are call me no and not tell me the why and not keep up the
No,
conversation.
but I can't. Some of the time you have to have kind. Some of the time you don't understand the meter, right? Because maybe if I can explain to you tomorrow, you know, to get it. Them all go
Oh,
around
but you
it,
make
you
me
know?
get. No.
Yeah, man, but as I say, me have a
You
little
know,
better
say,
explanation, you know?
you know, say. Which part you there now? Which part you there now?
Watch me there, man. Same place.
All right, you what? You have that telephone book there, Sanjay. It's the part telephone book. You what? Come on the gate and make my box in the head with the telephone book. Would I like you have big lick like with the telephone book?
Yes, sir. Yeah, well, I first knock on your program, man. That is a list.
You know the weirdest thing? Sanjay, give me the telephone book. Sanjay, find a telephone book for me get box in the head with the telephone book.
Yeah, well, I saw the thing said still, you know?
All right, sir, give thanks, yeah?
Yeah, man, all right.
Yeah, I tell you. Sanjay, no easy, that Sanjay, leave up the telephone book and give me. Sanjay, realize I really want that box with you. All right, sir. No, you know, and I asked it with no deep thing, you know. And America, this and America, that, you know. I just want to find out the scientific explanation why it happened that way there. You understand? Because if it didn't happen in Jamaica, you know, and people in New York never see it, you know, but that's about weird. Oh, this thing just happening in Jamaica, and I don't see it happening. See? Because you have balances and you have astronomy where I show you so well because the moon did that and did that. Like the first brother. The first brother kind of explained it to you, know, but him started about the sun a bit, you know, and chew me off. He started to chew me off. Him not said intentionally, you know, but just a little thing alone, make me start to wonder about him. You understand? He started the sun and the moon and the earth a orbit, but him kind of show the direction. Rather than this youth, you know. This youth, I really want to lick me with a telephone book. I have a big Bible in my yard, you know. I'm going to give me a Bible at Miami, you know, Rasta. So I tell you, say, we put them in luggage, you know, they try to figure out this woman have the luggage, you know. No, I'm serious, you know. The Bible, the cover alone is about half the size of the telephone book. That's the cover of the Bible. The amount of things in the Bible, I'm supposed to go to heaven when I don't read that. Personally, trust me, this is the next one phone. Yes, EL.
Yeah, Muta, like you expect me for call, man. You mentioned Miami. I'll be the side of you when you get the Bible.
When we get the Bible.
Read the word.
That's the Bible. It's in the Bible, Bridget.
Yeah, man. The devil.
Man, give me the Bible. If you walk with it and I lean sideways. The Bible. That's weird. No, it's a good thing, you know, because you can't say you don't see the word that's on the, you know, because you can't see the way the word is big in there. I put it beside some telephone book and I say, ratted, no, Rasta. Them not easy. I see a Bible bigger than that in Ethiopia, though, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, man, it's only them have a church in a Lalibela where the Bible, them have a window, right? No light, no in there, no electricity, no in them church there, no. Right? And them have this altar and them have this big Bible open upon it. And the only time them read the Bible is when the sun, the ray of the sun go between the window. And it shine right upon the altar where the Bible there, you know, and then them read it. After that, them not read it again. You wait till the next day, them read it. It's a very interesting thing. But the man give me the Bible, the man, to save me, man. Trust me, I must get saved.
I don't say that he gave her. I say I did a collection because it looks so pretty on the front.
But I tell you, man, gold. It have gold. But the preacher is back. I have one named the Jerusalem Bible in my yard, you know, but that one you beat the Jerusalem Bible, Rasta. Believe you me and trust me. And your mother ever say all the Bible, man. Oh gosh, man. Should I think?
Take it.
It's sweet, man.
Yeah, you know what I tell me I call about is when I used to go to school out at Easter, I kind of remember say when I did there primary school, I think I did see one, but I day up on the internet and it has shown me say December 4th 1983, about them the time the one did pass close to Jamaica. So I remember, so we did go outside in the schoolyard there and did a look up with some dark thing over where I, you know, so.
Yeah, but me see the moon turn to red already, you know.
Yeah. No, I did an eclipse, that one. It I say it was a annular eclipse. I don't know if that's different. They're different from a total, but it, you know, the one that was the closest. Here. Gone. Yeah. 1983, about them the time the one did pass close to Jamaica. So I remember, so we did go outside in the school area and did a look up with some dark thing. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, Mota, sorry about that.
Yeah, me I hear, no, you know. Me I hear you double every time you say something, you hear it again.
Okay.
And you know, so that happen for months now on phone. You say something on the phone and somebody said something to you, and then you hear them say the same thing again. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe I throw the CDC that on my yard now, so.
One of them CDC?
This disease
the cable?
The disease of
Center for Disease Control?
Control, right. I did the regional office, the right of Jamaica, you know.
So what that have to do with the cell phone? What that have to do with the cell phone? I mean, I hear 2 times.
You know them
conspiracy theory again. Lack of information. And that me I tell you about lack of information, you know, Rasta. Lack of information leading to answer and superstition.
That. I said, so the man there in Africa, they little things. So I said, the man there, they better watch themselves. You know?
But I never tell you to no believe, I never tell you to no work some over. We need to work some over for some of them blouse and skirting there, trust me. Like Bookman, where Bookman do a 80. You know?
Definitely, man. As I was saying, we love Pat Clark reasoning again this week.
Hear me, Ashon. Hear me, Jake.
Yeah, man, we love it.
Yes, I know she come with Mary C. Cole.
Whoa.
And Luna Morris. You know, the secretary for Haile Selassie there was a Jamaican lady. You didn't know?
Yeah, me hear you mention that.
Yeah, man, was a Jamaican lady. She used to follow him around, and then them crossed her off as mad because she started to sympathize with the Rastafari community. Can you believe that?
Yeah, man. We know that. We know that. I used to go to school close to Bellevue to some kind of, you know.
Me born between Bellevue and prison.
What they say there.
Born between them, right in a Potters Road, there, Raytown there. Elliston Road, where them call it Windward Road. Yeah, man.
Yeah, man, we know that.
Right between Bellevue and the prison. So you know, say, me's a prisoner. Well mad. Yeah, man.
So the next thing is I'm gonna do a reason about it again. Yeah, the thing is, me here, so the church them have a link up and try to educate the youth them. You know, try to find out what go on with the violence and things still. So may I say the peace at the Christian.
The church are Peter Phillips are art feet.
No, I think I see upon the Iron News that the church them must go try to make a discussion or something like that with the government for try help them.
Well,
yes, either the Jamaica Council of Churches to partner with other groups developing strategies against crime.
That me hear Peter Phillips that suggested, yeah.
Yeah, they need the clip where you just play still for where the little youth them I say to stop tell them where them for do and do where you tell them to do.
Yeah, because not what you say is what you do. When you say one thing and I do the other thing, the youth them I watch you.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. So I say it's set up. So thanks again for the reason. Thanks for the dedication and keep it strong. Bless you, love.
Yeah, man, Harry.
Do you want a better Africa? Believe it or not, for Africa to change, the way religion is delivered must change. Churches should stop preaching about miracles and breakthroughs. Popular preaching such as sowing a seed or, give and it shall be given unto you, have been misinterpreted for personal gain. No wonder pastors of today are so rich and yet the whole congregation and people around them remain poor. We are stuck with a generation of Africans who act as if God is the rewarder of laziness and poverty. The message churches send is that it is possible to reap where you did not sow, meaning you can get something out of nothing. Why should a child choose to learn the hard way if there is an easier way? The live for today attitude does not create wealth and people die without living. You can sit and wonder why Africa is the way it is today? The gospel of prosperity should be shamed and work around the fact that laziness can never reap real success. Christianity has played a very big role to the fall of Africa today, but that is not what it is intended for. Spreading messages of instant success have led to a generation of people who are thirsty for instant results, immediate relief, and effortless profit. The messages should not just focus of tithing and sowing seed, blessings, miracles, breakthroughs, and wonders. Churches should stop glorifying riches acquired through miraculous sources, stop preaching fear and stop focusing on what the devil or witches did, does, or will do. Instead they should preach positive news and focus on messages that add value to the communities such as hard work, creativity, dedication, commitment, perseverance, and responsibility. Pastors can promote good community initiatives such as cleaning the surroundings, and encourage creativity. Instead of waiting for our governments to do what they do not do, we can start helping ourselves, through humanism. The brother who becomes a millionaire by simply sowing a seed, does not help build a better community, and the message of such success should not be spread and showcased. Instead the applause should go to someone who has succeeded by hard work and perseverance. Start preaching the gospel of working hard, produce goods and services, planning, critical thinking analysis, strategy, visibility plans, system building, market and customer analysis, and the process involved in production of goods and services. This is how noble people and wealth is created. Rushing a sick person to church for prayers does not prevent that person from dying, but correct medication and treatment will. Haven't you wondered why people in Africa still died of Ebola despite prayers? Preach the real word of God instead. You do not need wealth in life. Wealth and clean cities don't come by miracle or magic. Religious superstitions, such as the shout of, "I receive it," and the loudest shout of, "Amen," is not enough to fulfill your wishes. True religion and true Christianity must, and can only, produce productive youth. For Africa to be globally competitive, education alone is not enough. We need to nurture creativity, innovation, and good governance. What is an engineering degree doing if you cannot even produce a water pump? Ask yourself a question: what have other people created with a similar qualification other than just looking for a job? Please, be slow to anger, slow to judge, quick to listen and try to understand. If not for you, do it for your children.
You are listening to Mutabaruka.
Yes, here.
Muta.
A blessed man.
Aye, man. I'm a credit shot. I really have to wait long in time. I have enough credit to cut through quick. Anyway, I don't know if the eclipse thing there.
Yeah.
It depends upon the angle where you're, man, I guess. The angle where you look on it, look out to the moon from. Remember, say the earth tilt.
Yeah, I know. All right.
The earth tilt.
You see what them show you the trajectory of the way it has it. Right from Seattle, come right down cross to the west part, the east part.
The east.
Charlotte,
the east was, I guess. Yeah.
All right. So you have to in line with that line. For actually see the total eclipse or something. Yeah, but I want to find out why I can't ask.
Why you go someplace I see it or something? Anyway.
Yeah, I want to find out, why is those, that's what I want to find. Like,
but the angle where you're from, so remember, say, the earth tilt on the axis, right? The moon will go around at a certain orbit around the earth.
And the earth will go around the
sun.
And
we go, yeah. So when it go now, when it block the sun,
yes,
it left to which part you there see it, you know? You understand? That's why at different place at different times it go.
Oh, it's like a season, like how the season come then.
Yeah.
Like the seasons. Like when you saw a night over this or a day, them kind of way there.
Yeah, because I can't do who I see it, well the day and night thing and who I see the sun first. When it go, because the earth I rotate on the axis.
Yeah.
Everything like that. I think I went and said the next total I went.
I figure it out.
I think I Chile then say the next one there.
Chile, I figure it out.
No,
when you talk, I just figure it out. I am very grateful that you said something a while ago to trigger my brains. You know, it's like you watch with them call sunrise and sunset, and you're there in a Negril, right? And you see the sun set, and the sun looks so beautiful, like it had touched the sea.
Yeah.
But the people them in a black river can't see it. I don't see it.
No, not at that time. Them see the sun set for them set over some mountain.
No, but me talk about at the time when me see it touch the.
When you see it touch the horizon, I feel horizon that you know.
Yeah, me know. But all right,
see,
yeah.
But that time Black River don't see it already.
Yeah, but it's the time I deal with. The time. The time when you see it as opposed to the time when them see it. It's a different time.
Yeah,
so by the time this happen again, it's the next time it will happen somewhere else. It's just that the sunset and the sunrise is a shorter time than the how much 100 years, maybe 50 years it's gonna take because the revolution of the sun and the sun, the moon and the
a line them have to line up, you know, line the straight them have to line up.
Yeah. Because sometimes the moon it get eclipsed too.
Well, the moon get eclipsed when time the earth between
the sun and the moon.
And
between the sun and the moon.
So come.
Yeah, what? Man, the man credit done in the tick of the line. I don't like when him credit lock off, you know. Because him just said something a while ago, click on my brains. Believe you me, it just clicking on my brains. I love to talk. I love to talk because you gather more and more and more and more. Okay. All right. I will put my call forward. Yes, Ian. Yeah,
Muta?
Yes, sir, different person, yes.
Yeah, man. I call from New York. I call, hello, Muta?
Yeah, man, I hear you.
Yeah, I'm the one that called you last week and talked about you giving out the name of the music. But I'm wondering, these guys are mixing up this thing. They keep saying meteorology, but it's really astrology we're talking about.
Astronomy.
Not meteorology.
Astronomy.
It's astrology.
Astronomy.
Hold on. They're not understanding the question.
Wait, hold on. Is it astronomy or astrology? Which one of them we are talking about?
Astrology, I think we're talking about, not meteorology, because they keep saying meteorology.
No, I know it's not meteorology, but I wonder if you
meteorology is
astronomy.
Astronomy, to be exact, isn't that study of the planets and the stars and
what
so
is
forth?
astrology? And what is astrology?
Oh, God.
No, God. Oh, you bring God in this one.
Position of the stars and movements of the planets.
But that's the same thing you don't say about the astronomy.
Yeah. So, but people keep in meteorology, which is really not study of the planets and stars and the moon and so forth. But the question you really want to find out is that how come we did not see it all over the other places did not see it at the same time?
Yeah.
But people are coming up with all these other explanations which you didn't ask.
Okay. All right. You
I'm just wondering if you need to rephrase your question. Because you see it in, say, North Carolina. Somebody should see it also somewhere else at the same time.
All right, wait, hold on there. Tell me what you say is astronomy.
Astronomy is the Astronomy, well...
All right. It's say according to the dictionary.
Astronomy. Let me get it.
All right, let me tell you what it is. Astronomy.
I know is the study of the stars and movements of planets.
All right, let me tell you. Astronomy is the study of the sun, moon, stars, planets, and other objects and phenomena.
Astrology.
No, astronomy.
Yeah.
Astronomy is the study of the sun, moon, stars, planets, and other objects and phenomena in space. That is what is astronomy. So that's why I'm asking you which one you want to talk about is astronomy.
Astronomy, then. Astronomy.
All right.
No, astrology. Somebody need to clarify that.
But I just clarify it. I just clarify it to you.
All right.
Astrology.
All right. Well, it's astrology.
Hold on. Astrology.
Yeah, go ahead.
Astrology is the study of the movements and relative positions of celestial objects as a means by dividing information about human beings. So it's astrology we really are talking about. Not astronomy and not meteorology. It's astronomy.
Right.
Astrology. Okay.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we're talking about astrology.
What people call up and saying is meteorology, which is more study of the weather.
Yeah.
But I'm saying the question that you did ask, though, is that how come you're seeing the total eclipse, say, North Carolina, say someone in Rwanda don't see the same thing at the same time? Isn't that the question you're asking?
Yes.
At the same day, at the same time, and people coming up that they're having it next year, they're having it 2,000 years from now. The question you're asking is that they should be able to see it at the same time, say in Rwanda.
A man just give me a light on it, you know. A man just give me a light on it. Say it's a trajectory of it's where you are. It's where you are at the time when the sun, when the moon passes total over the sun. The length, the space where you're there.
Yeah.
Where you is at the time, and also how the earth tilt. The earth tilt on its axis. So when the earth tilt on its axis, the moon will move.
Right.
There's a time inside with the sun, and you have to be at a certain place at a given time to see it.
Right.
Yes. So.
Right. Well, you know, but I don't think most of the listeners, some of the listeners.
Yeah, we understand. You have to take time with it. You see, the little school where we are running so in the night, it's for people like me when are so up there and so bright in these things. You understand?
Yeah, I understand, I understand, because it's still the University of Mutabaruka.
Yeah, but sometimes Mutabaruka needs some teaching too. You understand?
Well, we're always still learning, as they say.
Yeah, but I'm glad to say the listeners them take interest tonight, and it also mean that people are going to go up on them computer and see it, and that lead to more information.
Yes, there's nothing wrong with that, man. I'm always learning something new every day, every second.
Yeah, man. So give thanks. And I hope you like the music.
Even the name of the music.
Yes, all right, sir.
Sometimes I can't find it on, what's the thing I use? Goodness gracious.
Shazam, man. Shazam.
Yeah, Shazam.
Yeah.
That's what I use sometimes. I can't get it. You have some old music there, boy, that sometimes I can't even find it on Shazam.
Okay, sir. Well,
but keep moving, keep doing what you're doing, and happy whatever to you. I mean, goodness to you and your family. All right.
Give thanks, brethren. Give thanks.
All right. Take care.
Well, it's only for people tuning in New York. May I tell you, I'm still continue the journey. Listen.
We have an obligation to every last victim of this illegal aggression because all of this carnage has been done in our name. Since World War II, 90% of the casualties of war are unarmed civilians, a third of them children. Our victims have from Palestine to Afghanistan to Iraq to Somalia to wherever our next target may be. Their murders are not collateral damage. They are the nature of modern warfare. They don't hate us because of our freedoms. They hate us because every day we are funding and committing crimes against humanity. The so-called war on terror is a cover for our military aggression to gain control of the resources of Western Asia. This is sending the poor of this country to kill the poor of those Muslim countries. This is trading blood for oil. This is genocide. And to most of the world, we are the terrorists. In these times, remaining silent on our responsibility to the world and its future is criminal. And in light of our complicity in the supreme crimes against humanity in Iraq and Afghanistan and ongoing violations of the UN Charter and international law, criticize the actions of legitimate resistance to illegal occupation. How dare we condemn anyone else's violence? Our so-called enemies in Afghanistan, Iraq, Palestine, our other colonies around the world, and our inner cities here at home are struggling against the oppressive hand of empire, demanding respect for their humanity. They are labeled insurgents or terrorists for resisting rape and pillage by the white establishment, but they are our brothers and sisters in the struggle for justice. The civilians at the other end of our weapons don't have a choice, but American soldiers have choices. And while there may have been some doubt 5 years ago, today we know the truth. Our soldiers don't sacrifice for duty, honor, country. They sacrifice for Kellogg, Brown, and Root. They don't fight for America. They fight for their lives and their buddies beside them because we put them in a war zone. They're not defending our freedoms. They're laying the foundation for 14 permanent military bases to defend the freedoms of ExxonMobil and British Petroleum. They're not establishing democracy. They're establishing the basis for an economic occupation to continue after the military occupation has ended. Iraqi society today, thanks to American help, is defined by house raids, death squads, checkpoints, detentions, curfews, blood in the streets, and constant violence. We must dare to speak out in support of the Iraqi people who resist and endure the horrific existence we brought upon them through our bloodthirsty imperial crusade. We must dare to speak out in support of those American war resistors, the real military heroes who uphold their oath to defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, including those terrorist cells in Washington, D.C., more commonly known as the legislative, executive, and judicial branches. I close with a quote from Frederick Douglass, but if you want more information, please visit my website at liberatethis.com. Frederick Douglass said, "Those who profess to favor freedom and yet depreciate agitation are people who want crops without plowing the ground. They want rain. They want the ocean without the roar of its many waters. The struggle may be a moral one, or it may be a physical one, or it may be both, but it must be a struggle. Power concedes nothing without a demand. It never has, and it never will." Okay. Oh. Every one of us must keep demanding, keep fighting, keep thundering, keep plowing, keep speaking, keep struggling until justice is served. No justice, no peace. Thank you very much.
Yeah, powerful sister. That is very weird. Very weird. There is a flood that is taking place in South Asia, India, Pakistan. Nearly 2,000 people has died so far, and 40 million people is in problems. 40 million people is in problems with this flood. nearly 2,000 people die from this flood. You see power? You see when you have power, you can decide the people's condition psychologically. Because one would never know that there is a flood in Asia right now that is devastating people, millions of people. But these people who is feeling the brunt of this flood, they don't control the media. They don't have the power to swing your thoughts and your mind to make you feel a sense of care and purpose towards the people who is suffering. They don't have that luxury. So those who have that luxury of implanting and instilling thinking and thoughts in your mind will make you feel that the worst thing that is happening in the world right now is that flood in Texas. The worst thing that is happening right now is that flood in Texas. How much have you heard? How much have you heard that the flood in Bangladesh, parts of India, right in Asia, so how many have you heard that 40 million people is in problems right now? Nearly 2,000 people have died so far. That is why them fine already. We is far from that. And those people over there don't control your media to propagate it in your consciousness so that you will feel so downtrodden, like it will become like it's you feeling it. Yes, it's like it's you feeling it. You know, America have a thing named the World Series, and it's only American take part in it. Yes, the World Series, and it's only America take part in it. That is the arrogance of this thing. One would believe that when you say world, it would include other people, like when you say the World Cup. When other people say the World Cup, you know, you have nations and nations and nations taking part. When America say the World Series, it's only Americans involved. So when we hear about a flood, I will feel bad about the flood. That's supposed to happen. But it totally wipe away the pain and the agony, the death and destruction that is taking place in other parts of the world that is much more terrible than the one we focus on now. Much more terrible. Wow. May I tell you? Why you listen to this? If you can't take it, just lock it until you feel it's done. It is about, I can tell you, it's 4 minutes long. So if you start to listen to it, you can't take it. Just lock it and come back. Because I should have paid some advertisement before and soothe your soul with it. You this all, yes, Ian.
Muta.
Sorry, man.
Well, I drop the car, get dropped out, and go look, I say, how my credit done, so $150 done. But I look, I still have $78 left on the phone. But you know, the car for now, because, you know.
Can you wait again? You want to know?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, if you call back and make the operator get your number. Operator.
That's good for me.
Operator, see if you can't get this man your number. You want to call her back and get your number?
Yeah.
Before you call them, before you think them. Call her and get back your number. Yes, all right. Yes, all right. So, we're taking the bridge in. I know there's him to that call back still. All right. We want to play this. As me I say, if you can't take it, just, you understand? All right, here goes.
And controlling the people. You had a ship full of African men, women, and children who were at the mercy of the sailors on that crew. And those men could have sex with anybody they wanted to. The women, the children, and the men.
You ought to see 3 months tied down with these white men. There ain't no women there for the most part. When they start bringing women, they weren't even bringing women. They were bringing girls between the ages of 6 and 15 and raping them all. But they also were raping the men. Same things are happening on the plantation to demasculinize the black man.
Control the slave population is to rape a father in front of his sons, or to take the biggest, baddest black man on the plantation and do something horrible to him to completely humiliate and emasculate him so that people won't respect him anymore. And that still happens to this day.
In the Caribbean, they had seasoning plantations which break the slaves. And one plantation or one place that had a lot of seasoning plantations was Jamaica. And people have to wonder, what were they doing on these seasoning plantations that was worse than what was happening on the regular plantations? Well, one thing that they were doing on these plantations, especially in Jamaica, they were doing a process called buck breaking, where the white supremacist slave owner or the white supremacist overseer would literally rape black men in front of the whole black population in order to break his spirit, in order to break him down as a man, in order to show dominance against him, in order to show the rest of the black population that this is not your leader. I just made your leader submit to me sexually. And this happened a lot in Jamaica.
This is why homosexuality is so looked down upon in Jamaican culture.
It was a way primarily of cutting down those who would rebel. In other words, it was a matter of power and control and domination. And they would call it buck busting, but it was really butt busting.
Slavery continued until 1865 for about 2 generations, right? So how do you reconcile that? You can no longer bring in Africans, but you still have the business of slavery. So they still needed Africans to do the work down south, especially after the cotton gin was invented. So you had the creation of breeding farms. 2 of the largest slave breeding farms in the United States were on the eastern shore of Maryland and right outside of Richmond, Virginia. They literally bred black people like cattle. They would have sex with a healthy black woman. That woman could be his mother, his sister, his aunt, his cousin. It didn't matter, because the end product was produce a child that I can sell, bodies that I can sell and ship down to Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. It was a business.
We had breeding farms in the United States that would put one person from one plantation against another. We even had a system where if you were a breeder, male on one plantation, or a female on another plantation, or even on the same plantation, even if you were mother and son, they would mate you. And so I tell a lot of my patients and a lot of my friends, you got to stop using the MF word, because that was a description of what actually happened when the paper one breeder against another when they were related.
Wow. Can't say nothing. This is the cutting edge. Yes, El. El?
El?
Yeah, blessed.
Yes, Motor. Sorry about that. I don't know. Should I put you the call and you they play the tape, so I kind of...
I don't know.
Drift off, you know?
You hear the tape? You hear it?
Yeah, man. Make it a piece sides, you know?
So you know, man?
And I give thanks one more program, you know?
I never see you, don't you, though? I never see you.
Well, Virgin, no forward with him, have some vehicle problem, you know?
Okay.
But me hear the discussion, as it seems to touch on that, I can just... Me hear the discussion last week, where you have to go over in a Matrix program. with the litter thing, you know.
The dirty up thing, yeah, dirty up Jamaica thing, yeah.
Yeah, and I say, we use a principle from when we at school, right? When some of the time, youth will go to school over the years. Some of the time, our teacher will respond to our class. But I say, here what I'm student. We are going to kind of go up at the office with that. We have a little meeting thing. So, we are going to beg the next door teacher give her eye still. But at the same time, she want to behave herself on a level where we not disturb the other classes then, right? Yeah. So at the same principle with we're not supposed to, man say want to bring in the warden for litter warden and them thing. We're not supposed to have them thing. They were supposed to have a consciousness if you know so environment come first. You understand me?
Yeah, true.
And we're not supposed to have nobody over with to tell with that.
Like we are slaves still.
Yeah, at the same time, they're not supposed to wait till police come. Them line up good in the park and them not block up the road and them thing. Them principle supposed to develop on a level because of the civility we are dealing with on that thing, you know?
Yeah.
But I just want to touch upon the first tape where you play a motor with the Depo Povera.
You mean,
and you remember one time we have a discussion.
You mean about the Boyle, which one?
The contraceptive drug,
oh, yeah, when the Israeli them get the Ethiopian them.
Yeah. And they make a point, say, oh, them big drug company continue to flourish after this whole heap of lawsuit and whole heap of settlement and all of them things there. And them tell you, say, a big business. So when you carry them go court and you get a 6 that come like, me don't want to use that term, I'm going to use it, collateral damage to them, you know? Yeah, man. So it's a big, huge business for them. And the part that strike me to when them use the point and say, right now, when them win when them lose certain cases in a certain country, them kind of spread them wings to the poorer country. Or I said Jamaica fall in that category.
Yeah, the poorer the better for them.
In investor-friendly countries, you know.
Yeah. That's why them have to connect with certain political politicians and banks and businesses that them can keep the country a certain way for maintain them presence in there with them pharmaceuticals and them pharmaceuticals.
Yeah, I don't know like that. The truth is that the thing connected on the radio. I run regular with this lady that talk about HIV and how you have to take your meds, and the lady say you don't want to look good every day. So that's a part of the whole regime, you know, where they might try to punch it in your brain to take your medication every day, you know. Take your medication every day, you know. And all of them things, you know.
Yeah, but the reality is that if you don't take it, you're good at dead.
I tell you too. But the thing is this, you know, Motor. Now for the time, enough people understand, so the body design a way where it heal itself, you know. I just you have to just know your body to that level there and help it. You see me I say?
Yeah.
The people know say boy smoking no good and them say, "Chow, me just burn a one before." And you know that not really do me nothing, but I just say it starts from the one spliff and the one cigarette.
Yes,
so you have to help your body heal itself. Because no for the time medication can do so much and no more.
Yeah.
It reach a point, because even one time I go to a dentist and I said, boy, dentist may I feel a pain and take the painkiller, and the man just use a little his illustration. He said, the pain is this high, but the medication can only reach halfway, which part of the pain reach. So you have to draw out the teeth them time there. You understand what I say? But the sister we played the thing about the war thing a while ago.
Yeah.
It reminds me back in the day, I don't want to go back too far, but at the time of the second Iraq war there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at them time there, because we look forward to it every Wednesday, bro. Because them time we are listening, because the internet never so widespread time. And you are monitor your international thing, and you make you know, because with Hans Blix, him talk about them to find a smoking gun, and with all of that, the war still going to see me. And so the sister talk about the checkpoints, this and that. The country mash up, see me, because at the aisle greed, the people them want to run in for the people them aisle. And that's the end result of what takes place now.
Them kill Saddam, give rise to ISIL, and now them have to kill ISIL, which is really terrible, because ISIL now spread its pangs all over the world.
Yeah, and when you talk and thing there, it's like sometimes some people have it as a thing, but some of the time the things are plain, you're not supposed to think them way there.
Yeah.
And you're not going to get it on the regular news.
No, then wait there. A whole heap of things we have said over the years. I just know it become main news, Whole heap of things we did say from them time. I just know people just see it say, but this thing really happen for you. Look there. You understand?
And you see what you talk about now with this flooding thing. We can't always go back to YouTube, because to me that old and thing, I never listen. I wonder the point where they make about the flooding and the media.
No, what I say is, you hear about the flooding in Bangladesh and India and them places. You hear about it?
No,
right?
you just highlight that to me.
Well, let me tell you something. As of today, when I get the news, it was about 1,200 people dead, and 40 million people is at risk with this flood. You're not about that, but every minute on Jamaican radio, you hear people sell condolence to that, and you hear people.
I'm say to my sister, and I say, well, if that thing happen in Jamaica, if the people are so sympathetic. Panda level,
yeah, but you see, it wouldn't depend CNN and BBC and all them people like how it depend. No, if it was Jamaica, you would have to see something about it, but not as frequent as how you see it now. But no, what the problem with that, is that when them show it, it affects people emotionally and psychologically outside America more than when it happened to we.
You must say you have all the news reporters, them put on them raincoat and them gone on the boat and with them people them are rescuing and
that is what we talk about power. You see, power is power to that, It's power make you can't see that by your TV or regurgitate. It's like them loop it. Them just keep looping the same news. They never loop the same because it's the same chuck in the water, and by the time the man don't talk about it, you see the same chuck in the water about 4 times,
Serious thing.
Yeah, man, they just keep looping the same picture because the picture tell you more than what the man has say, It's psychological thing, Your eye reverberate with your brains more than all your ear, You understand? That's why them say a picture is worth 1,000 words.
Yeah, I'm going to have a discussion about going back on the medical thing with the whole TV programming. When them have some commercial where I tell about some medication and all the medication. You check out the side effects of the medication.
It worse than the sickness we have.
Yeah, but what I'm doing, the Virgin are reason with it. Man tell me say, here's the trick with it now. You see when them tell you the side effects them, and the picture them are put to you, because you're not listening, Them not show you the side effects them like you would have say somebody gone and want emergency room because of the side effects.
Because of the side effects.
You see the old people them a play with them grand picnics.
Yeah, because
play with them dog. Meanwhile, them a read out the side effects.
Yeah. You just ignore the side effects. And shooting your attack. And shooting. Where your eye see is not what them a say. Because after them take like 50 seconds to tell you the goodness of the tablet. And then take another 50 seconds to tell you the badness of the tablet. But there's nothing bad. Your eye see. You can't behold nothing bad. It's pure goodness. I just said the grandmother hold a little peanut showed bomb the ball and, a little dog run up on the lawn and lick him face and all them things. There was another disease I got around him, don't even realize it.
Hello, William. I'll give somebody else around.
Yeah, man. I give thanks, Bridget.
Who want you keep on it,
Yeah, all right, sir.
Yeah, man.
Yes. Well, that's serious thing. You just talk. Just serious thing the Bridget say. Anytime them tell you about the side effects, you'd never say a picture of the side effects person. Them still show you that the whole advertisement. The baby with the little ball and bum and latte and lick him tongue and lick him face and all that stuff. Why I tell you? Sir. Yes.
Yes, Motor.
Blessed man.
Yes, Motor.
Why you listen to the program?
Yes, man. We are listening, man, and we just full joy, especially this evening with the it's all true, the power of propaganda.
Yeah, man. When you see
the power of, Marcus Garvey said it in a philosophy and opinions that propaganda has done more to defeat races and other peoples more than any other else thing. You know what I mean? Because they keep showing the thing,
You did hear James Garvey, the feature where Pat Clark up on James Garvey a while ago? Not a while ago.
No, I missed that. But it's talking about the same propaganda type of thing?
No, it give a history of, in a 5 minutes, it talk about Amy James Garvey. Last week she mentioned Amy Ashwood Garvey.
Oh, my cousin, yeah. But this week, Amy James Garvey.
Every week
okay.
She call Jamaica Roots and Culture. Every week she present with a topic pertaining to, Marcus Garvey, Jamaica, Miss Lou, whatever. Well, last week she featured...
This Garvey is someone who you and I know,
Yeah. Well, we know, but I'll tell you, it's a nice feature. Because people start to gravitate towards it now because of how she presented.
How she presented, okay. Yeah. I must ensure that I get to hear it. Well, what I'll do, I definitely get to listen the earlier part of the program and listen to it then, for real, But talking about Amy Jakes Garvey, I remember that with same propaganda thing, when she used to write to the Gleaner, letter to the editor, at the time it was Theodore Seeley by North Street there. And before that, when Gleaner was at Harbour Street. And to counteract the lies that the Gleaner used to put out about her husband, Marcus Garvey, Seeley, never used to publish it. And when she complained, say, you're publishing these things and you have other people writing things what you publish, telling lies about my husband, in the Gleaner and so. And when I write to expose the lies and that type of thing, you don't publish it. And Amy Jakes Garvey told me that Theodore Seeley, the Gleaner editor, their policy answer was that, well, if she wants her what she has to say about her husband, Marcus Garvey, to be written, she must get her own paper. Yes, she must get her own paper, so it goes to show, So this is why Marcus Garvey, established his own paper and thing, because when you don't have your own paper, it's like you, with what you are doing on Cutting Edge. People like you and I and others would not be able, our voices would not be heard.
But not only that, it has allowed, what happened is that she published one of the greatest books ever, which was the Philosophy and Opinions of Marcus Garvey, Volume 1, 2, and 3.
Precisely, also Africa for the Africans. Exactly.
Yes.
And it's in line with the self-reliance, as Marcus Garvey had instructed her to publish that, to give what he was really about in terms of his ideology. Because a lot of lies were being told, and Marcus Garvey put out that philosophy and opinions, the Black Prince solution, so one and all could see what he was saying and what he was doing to counteract the lies. And up to today, even though he's Jamaica's first national hero and the most well-known Pan-Africanist in history, we still don't have the philosophy and opinions of Marcus Garvey in the still, deliberately. And this must be done. This must be done. And the next thing that you mentioned too about the reason why homosexuality in Jamaica and elsewhere in the African world is looked down so much on is that it was used by the racists as a way to break the resistance and spirit of our African men.
Yeah, that's not the clip that I talk about, but I want to tell you so there's a longer argument as it relates to that.
I have heard you played it before, you know, more than one time, I'm sure. Yes, so it goes to show. So sometimes when you hear the homosexual brigade, homosexual mafia saying, oh, people, nothing is wrong with homosexuality and things. You see, they're not talking about the historical record where homosexuality was used as a weapon to break the spirit and resistance of our people. You know, and remember, not only our African fathers, men and so were raped, but little boys too.
Where is that them I show you?
And little girls were raped also too. So the whole pedophilia thing and the incest whereby they made, you know, the paper bag over the face.
That you don't know is who
of sons having sex with their mothers, yes.
Yeah, that you don't know is who you sleep with. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, vicious, and we will not let up and then they come with rubbish about so-called homophobia. Phobia means fear. We don't fear homosexuals, but we reject their nastiness, the perversion that they're trying to push and force on people. And from you don't agree with them, they want to attack you and tell all kind of lies. But we have to stand strong.
Yes. We're going to England as we speak.
Well, the carnival went well. Because as usual, again, the racists never want the Nottingham Gate Carnival to take place, saying too much crime and that type of thing. Yet they don't talk about the crime and the drug taking at Glastonbury and other of these European festivals, and also the violence, crime at football matches and that type of thing. And this year, about a third of the police force for London was brought out. They have about 31,000, and they had out up 50% and about 9,000 at Nottingham Gate Carnival. Carnival Sunday, Carnival Monday. I mean, I was there both days to observe for myself. And what they're doing too, they're trying to frustrate people by them making the area smaller and smaller for people to, by blocking off even more streets in Ladbroke Grove. Deliberate is a form of what they call kettling. You know, squeezing up the amount of people to make it more restricted for people to be fed up. Like, you'll be one place and you just want to go over there. And they say, no, they barricade it. You have to go all the way round some long circuitous way to get to a place which you're standing right in front of. Deliberately closing off more and more streets. It's a deliberate tactic because they're trying to kill the carnival. And they're upset because the arrest rate was down from last year. You know, about 313 arrests were carried out by about 10 p.m. on Monday that the police themselves. And when you compare to the arrests at Glastonbury that took place earlier, percentage-wise, less of this took place at Carnival than at Glastonbury.
which is a totally European festival there by their farm, you know. But the constant racist attempt to put down Notting Hill Gate Carnival because it is coming from our African people, from the Caribbean. And of course, what has made Notting Hill Gate Carnival the biggest event of its type in Europe is the sound systems that play, because it is the sound systems that draw the majority of the crowd to Carnival. If it was just a float and so, you wouldn't have many people.
The music, yeah.
Yes, man, it's the music. It's the music. You see what I'm saying? You know, and there no killings took place because, you know, they would have used that as a weapon. But you have a station here named LBC, for example, and a guy named Nick Ferrari. Racists are always telling lies about Carnival, that Carnival should stop. But he's not saying football matches should stop, where they have a lot of hooliganism and drug selling too, because these things take place at football matches. Not just violence, but drug selling and usage. And it takes up a lot of resources of the police. But they don't want to stop that because that's their thing. And Carnival makes about 100 million. Adds about 100 million pounds every year to the economy. That's the kind of money. And I have to remember, people should know that Amy Ashwood Garvey at One Bassett Road where there's a plaque, you know, and you know, I'm glad to know that she, as my cousin, along with Claudia Jones from Trinidad, were people who did a concert by St. Pancras near to King's Cross that eventually led to Carnival some years later in Ladbroke Grove. You know?
All right, Bridget,
so, I remember Alton Ellis's birthday. You and I, favorite singer, is this Friday, tomorrow, Friday, the 1st of September. He was born 1938.
All right, listen, yeah? Yeah, this is the Cutting Edge on RFM. We're there with you. Continuing the journey of information.
America, one of the wealthiest countries in the world. But the question is, how did it accumulate its wealth?
All right, we'll come back to that. We don't want them to credit them gone. It's ill. Yeah.
Ferrari. Man, you know, man, Ferrari has to do the racing, you know, so I race.
I can't hear you.
So I say, it's a man named Ferrari.
Yes.
Yeah, so no racing business, no racing. With Bridget that talk about again, you know, with the same thing with that thing, you know, when talk about the picture, when I talk about the picture, I go over and over.
Yeah, them loop it like they loop it.
Yes, because you see one time when I go for Noriega.
Yes.
Well, with Noriega, I don't get nothing. When they take the machete and beef on the next turn, when they attack one time, and I say, I'm going like him, but I say, America can't do this and that and that. So I know them over film. But then when I look on the news, I see them and people show one picture over and over, and after I look like the man so bad down there, no things are going on. I say, look at them, I go down there, and bam, I got them do. I tell them do all the time, man, propaganda.
Yeah, man.
And the same thing over and over. It's subliminal, you know, man.
They not look on the flood, man, and say, I will put the picture of them, it's same picture of them a loop.
No.
Yeah, the worst part, you know, them loop it, and then them talk over it.
Of course.
A key that when them a show you a tablet or something, a medicine, and them say it's good for you, and then them start to tell you the bad part, like them don't show you a little woman who broke down because of the bad part. Them still a show you the same, you know, the little dog and lassie and the little puppy and.
Your vision override
Yes, yeah. Where you see it's more than where you hear, you know, it's like.
The kind of BBC they look upon the Bengali thing, you know, Bangladesh.
Yeah. BBC kind of a little better than Fox and CNN and MSNBC, you know. Yeah, but most Jamaican people don't know so that I go on still, you know. It's like the other day with the thing in Sierra Leone there. And through this flood, I know that just disappear out of the news, you know. It's like we're going to Sierra Leone rectify already, and you know it's done. You know, like it's just a couple of days a year. No, I mean this is a major thing, man.
But the next brother don't know. The astronomy and astrology. Astrology. The next one we talked before, the first one.
Yeah, what the person says astrology.
Astrology or the astronomer, they talk about that the eclipse astrology and talk about eclipse and the talk the horoscope and things. Because the astrology, they the one who study, like an astronomer, they study it and to the relationship, which constellation are they and then they affect the spiritual and all and something.
So, wait there. So you say astronomy don't deal with, where's the astronomy not deal with?
No, the astronomer. The eclipse go happen and all that.
The astronomer, astronomy.
Yeah, because the astrologer, it interested in to say what influence the position them.
That is astronomy.
Yeah, the astrology, the one that will tell you your future. The zodiac sign them.
Yeah, but all right, here where it say astronomy is the study of the sun, moon, stars, planets, and other objects and phenomena in space.
Yes, that are the astronomer, them.
Yeah,
them
astronomy.
Look to the telescope, them and work out everything and things. Right? The astrologer now, he'll take it to another level because he might look and see, all right, this I can see Orion over there, so, you know, stars over there, so. And they talk about the interaction of them and see how it affects humans, you know, your spirit, your psyche and all that, and the time when you're born.
And that is who, the astrologer?
The man who read the zodiac sign.
Yeah.
You know, that them deal with mostly, but with the eclipse and all them something over there, you know, the astronomer, them, I don't tell you. And the first time, you know, and them have computer now and work out it, so them can work out it.
So that means I made it right at the beginning.
Yeah.
That's why, all right, you say it weird. It's doubt myself, you know. Because when him say it's astrology, me ask him, so what is astronomy? Come and start with doubt and I say, is astrology or astronomy, him want to say. If you do him, I say, meteorology is not what the people them want to say. But him still did not say the wrong thing.
That's
why I mean to ask him now, if it's astronomy, what is the meaning of astronomy versus what is the meaning of astrology? You know, so my ignorance get the better of me there too.
The astrologists, them are
it's a study of the movements and relative position of celestial objects as a means for dividing information about human affairs and terrestrial events. Astrology has been dated. All right, we don't want to part that, but let me tell you when astrology come about and all these things. But yeah, the world is really astronomy.
And they have different kind of astrology stuff. Some they don't call it sidereal and different kinds. Because right now, them are deal with the 12. Everybody deal with 12 signs of zodiac, right?
Yeah.
And right now, a number 13 coming in a place from almost years ago. And the bad name knows. Some man think them are Leo no more. They move at different time.
But the Ethiopian calendar is 13 months, it have, you know. Ethiopian calendar have 13 months.
But the month different one. The time they're not talking. When you look up in the sky, you can, if you have one book, when I book them, the astronomical book them, you can mark out the star them and you see the animal them when they talk about them.
Yeah, that is when the door can them the door.
Yeah. Everybody can look on the big dip and the little dip and see it really look like one lady putting a spoon in your second.
Yeah.
And with the Orion there, you don't know somebody see the you can see the hunter, you can see there with the sword hang down and the arrow. The arrow point, I know the arrow point, and you say, what in the state, what you see the arrow, you see the bull. And you can face it and see it. Understand?
Yeah.
But you know, now they stop at 12 times a day, but the rotation now bring in an next configuration in one number 13.
Yeah, but when I say, that would connect with why some people said 13 instead of 12, because the same, no, that would have a connection.
Oh, the month, well,
the 12, the 13 month instead of the 12 month, instead of the 13 sign, the 13, what you just talk about.
Oh, astrological.
The 13 signs, then what you just talk about. Wouldn't that relate to the 13 months? Like how they have 12 zodiac because of 12 months?
I don't think I will because of 12 months, but I'm not 100% sure. I don't no quote the funny, but I don't think so.
But no, the 12 month, all right, wait, hold on, let me go figure it, because if you're born between January and December, there's a sign in the zodiac that represents your month. Eh?
Yeah, that's a rule another time.
Yeah, so it would have well, the zodiac, then what I say is that when them study the stars, them realize each month connected to one of the stars them. And it deal with your personality, depending on when you're born in the month. So really and truly now, the sign have something to do with month because you can't born outside of a month.
Logic.
Yeah, you can't born outside of a month. That's why when we come now, when you say them find now something outside at the 12, and you find a 13th one now. Me I figure say, but Ethiopia, they don't have 13 months, so maybe them did see the thing already.
No, but yeah, more than 13 cancellation, I will put cancellation, no. But you from up this side, because when you're up in the north, you read it. If you go way down tip of South America, Antarctic.
In Brazil and all them places.
I become set of stars you have seen.
Yeah.
The thing is, like people when you see one that say, oh, them ancient people there didn't know them, study them and know the whole heap of them because some of them not changing see them to 20,000 years. You understand? No matter how they know them.
Like the Dogons. And the Egyptian them.
And the Egyptian them and
but the Dogon them scare the world scientists them with the knowledge where them have.
Them and the millions too.
But out there, you know, and and the people from what them call it Mauritania. The what them call it the people them again. It starts with S.
Mauritania,
not Mauritania. Oh, not Mauritania, sorry. In Mesopotamia. Sumerians. The Sumerians' knowledge did really baffle a whole heap of scientists, how them know the thing them. To the point when all white people start say, it's alien give them the knowledge rather than them sitting at them experience. You know, it's like old people know say you must plant certain food at a certain time when the moon shine. It's not like say some extraterrestrial being tell them about it. It's through experience.
Observation.
Them gain the wisdom of that. You know, a man go and realize when him plant that thing, but him go do it at the moonshine. And then realize when him chop the bamboo in the moonshine, it take a weevil. And then one time him say, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go there when the moon not shine. Not that him knows that the moon had caused it, you know. But him just accidentally maybe go there when the moon not shine and go chop it. And realize that it's the bamboo when him chopping at the dark night hold up better than the one when him chopping at the moonshine.
And the memory sharp, you know.
Yes.
Remember where they went and say,
you mean, of course, that them not have nothing for think pan. Them have to think pan nature.
You know, just, you know, and some of them, you know, get an inspiration, you know. I think just come to them and say, let me try.
Make you try it, yes.
And inspiration. Like
just link them right away, that's all, yeah.
Thing is so that you can get inspiration with medicine to use, with books to use.
But one of my brethren did a reason this weekend about extraterrestrial beings and you know, the pyramids and who built them and the Dogon people. And the argument is that white people always don't want to give credence to other set of people's accomplishment.
No.
Them prefer to give it over to some extraterrestrial or some divine power rather than feel, say, a man can sit down in a what them call primitive environment and figure out something because him they so nature is where guide him and feed him and things. So him have to observe the things them. And when him observe them, him realize about this connect to that, therefore, him going to do it according to that, like him plant certain food in a certain time. If you don't connect to nature, you can't know that. And when these people come with them concrete and steel, and them can't figure out how the pyramid them build, and them can't figure out how the Dogon people them think. Even the Dogon people them will come see this knowledge, start to feel say it's some other things, give them the knowledge, you know.
Because other people are trying to convince them of that.
Yes, because sometimes your grandmother want to convince you too.
So, then you know, you don't take the Bible, the same Bible, and just like how you say, the ancestor business. If they talk about them St. Peter, St. Paul and all that, and Jesus.
Yeah.
But if you talk about ancestors and say,
the people think they fall, and them talk about Paul and call him saint too.
And them still take part of it. And the people want to take out of it, then take out of it and use.
Yeah.
They say, all right, put a song. They say, you're hugging up the monkey man, right?
Yeah.
To me, I'm not sure still know. But me I say, well, I sang there all the time, I hear that song there. And my man, the monkey after me, I think him I sing both. You know how the monkey man, the older man, the monkey after the monkey. You remember that man there?
Oh, we don't tired of you. No, only heard that you. Okay,
no, when I say, I have got the monkey man, I told me I have to think, but yet, same that, I come in and take that same rhythm and everything, and the melody and everything, and do running from the preacher man.
Yeah.
Like Christian things. Them always take something out of what they call pagan and bring in them Christianity. And I because most of them story them as come out of Samaria. I see them Samaria and them story. I kind of hold, but everybody when they are school, you have to learn the Beatitude. I'm seeing the multitude, he went up into the mountain. Now when you were set, you tried to sing a team and you open the mouth. Everybody learned it, yeah. You know, and the word blessed this, blessed that. And then we find out, I plagiarize that.
Yeah.
So they find tablets out of Samaria where multiply so we get before him come. Then they write.
Yeah.
And all them things there. You understand?
Anyway, give thanks, brethren.
Find them. All right.
All right, give thanks. I will keep your number.
Yeah, man.
All right.
So two of them because...
Two of them again?
Yeah, because when I come on the first one, no, something else going on. Some of the other one, but that one I know me have to come out of the house and smoke on the road. Did it?
All right.
The digital one, right now, pick up.
Where you call from?
Yeah?
Where you call from?
Up in St. Mary.
Okay, all right. Give thanks, yeah?
Yeah, man.
Yes.
America, one of the wealthiest countries in the world. But the question is, how did it accumulate its wealth?
This is a nation founded on genocide and built on the backs of slaves. So we started with a race.
Yeah, that is Michael Moore talking.
We tried to actually eliminate one entire race, and then we used another race to build this country actually quite quickly as a new country into a world power. This country never would have had the wealth that it had it not had slavery for a couple of 100 years.
But I say to white people, look, you didn't do it. They say, yeah, that's right. We didn't have nothing to do with slavery. Yeah. But because of slavery, when you immigrants came here, America was already built with the blood, the sweat of my ancestors. So you got what you got because your fathers gave us what they gave us.
One mistake that's often made is showing how the South, the Confederacy, acquired their wealth off of ancestors. And even then, it's reduced to just a few slave owners who saw a real benefit. No. Chattel slavery of blacks benefited the South, but just as much it benefited the North and all of America and its many European immigrants.
Well, I won't see my longer hair.
America's economic structure was propelled by its dominant export sold throughout the world, cotton. This one crop provided over half of all U.S. exports earnings. And by 1840, 60% of the world's cotton was grown, picked, and labored over for free by our ancestors. These plantation owners were raking in money, accumulating great wealth, and never having to pay one dime to their laborers. But the North developed a variety of businesses that provided services to the slave South, like textile factories, insurance companies, shippers, and cotton brokers. But it doesn't stop at the slave owner or the businesses that provided the services to the slave system. Banks, yes. Bankers on Wall Street made millions selling goods to the South, along with giving loans and creating banks to finance Southern plantations. And much of this same wealth they still have today. Let me give you some examples. J.P. Morgan and Chase Bank admitted that between the years of 1831 to 1865, two of their predecessor banks, Citizens Bank and Canal Bank in Louisiana, accepted 13,000 slaves as collateral on loans that slave masters defaulted. One of the more successful banking families that built much of their wealth on the slave trade was the Brown family, more commonly known as the Brown Brothers and Harriman Company, which is the oldest and largest private investment bank. The Brown Brothers owned hundreds of slaves. This family dominated the cotton industry. They made a huge fortune by lending millions to Southern planters and cotton brokers. Another portion of their wealth came by renting and the sales of slave ships they sold to slave merchants. They served as one of the most important sources of capital in foreign exchange in the U.S. economy. Wachovia Bank, recently acquired by Wells Fargo, also profited heavily off of this cruel system. Mayer Rothschild, a German banker and the founder of the Rothschild, is believed to have become the wealthiest family in human history, made enormous gains by using our ancestors as collateral. The insurance industry also saw great benefits from slavery. Companies like AIG, Aetna, New York Life were the forerunners in this industry. But see, it's also very important to note that these same plantation owners and business owners would donate large sums of this wealth in order to train their children and the next generation on containing the wealth. For example, Harvard was built due to large amounts of money given by Isaac Royal, a plantation owner in the Caribbean islands of Antigua, who made a massive fortune off of his many sugar plantations. Yale was and established its prestigious scholarship program. Princeton. By the mid-1700s, many of its students were sons of plantation owners. Brown University, named after the famous slave owner banker, the Brown Brothers. A large portion of this campus was built with slave labor. And these are just a few of the many institutions that was built with slave money. See, these men would be looked at as great businessmen, philanthropists. But in actuality, they were securing the wealth of their future by training and educating the next generation that would take over their plantations and their businesses, and even become government officials, responsible for creating laws, regulations, and policies that would keep blacks fighting for human rights to this stolen wealth for decades. For decades after slavery, blacks have fought against unequal education, which is a sure way of ensuring wealth disparities. We fought grandfather clauses to prevent us from affecting government in ways that could transfer wealth. Land grants, free land issued from the government that blacks were restricted from. The black codes, housing restrictions, redlining and FDA guarantee loans, predatory bank lending, convict leasing, which utilized black labor but does not transfer the wealth. I wish that I could say that this wealth disparity in America was isolated only in America, but it's not.
All the wealth that was generated that helped to make Britain great, so-called, the British Empire, all of this came from enslavement and colonialism and ill-gotten gains. Modern discussion around inequality and the huge gap between the nations, not only in terms of Britain and Europe, but also the rest of the world, and in particular, Africa and the Caribbean.
The truth is, this is the same scenario across every colonized land. Today, as a people, we fight for the Confederate flags to come down. We even fight for people to stop using the word nigger. Right. Or other forms of bigotry to not be used. But we've been duped into believing that it's absolutely foolish to continue to fight for reparations. Many of us don't recognize the direct ties between the past and the wealth that was carried into today. Our ancestors were forced to invest in this economy without ever receiving a return. Unless were never paid to slaves or their descendants to help balance out this unjustified wealth. But understand that the reason our ancestors were enslaved was not for the purpose of being able to call us right. It was not even for the purpose of being able to raise a slave flag. No. All of the killing, the torturing, dehumanizing, inhumane treatment all boiled down to one reason: wealth. It was all business. Understand that. I know that our brother Martin did.
I still have a dream.
Not that one.
At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today, many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. And this is what we are faced with. And this is a reality. Now, when we come to Washington, in this campaign, we are coming check.
Yes. Food for thought. Yes. Yeah.
Muta.
Yeah, blessed.
Yeah. Yeah, Muta.
Yes.
Muta.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, let's correct ourselves here. All right. It's what we're talking about was really astronomy.
That's what we just talked about a while ago, the region. Yes.
I'm calling from the Bronx again.
Yeah. You heard the brother a while ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're talking about astronomy.
Yeah, we'll clarify
not
that.
Astrology.
Yeah, we'll clarify.
Astronomy. All right. So we were correct?
Yes.
All right. And it's not meteorology and it's not astrology.
No, it's astronomy.
It's astronomy.
That's what I said first.
Yes.
But yeah,
so
that's what I said.
I'm saying I'm correcting it.
Of course.
It's astronomy.
Yes.
It's your program, man. We got to be right on everything. It's Mutabaruka.
All right, sir. Give thanks.
All right, Muta.
Yeah, man. Blessed,
Enjoy.
man. Yes.
Man. Blessed.
Yes. Give thanks to the moment. Give thanks to the time. I personally enjoyed it. You know why I enjoy it? Because a lot of the things I listen carefully and more attentively in the night, yeah, than when I leave my yard I listen to them. And not only that, I'm playing it for people who may have never heard it before. I never hear them clip here before. You know, we want to play them clip here like how we play a tune. That's how we want to do it. On the two program, we want to play them. You see, because them so short, them is almost the length of a normal tune we play upon the radio. So, I seen say, in the program them, you know, play them like how would I play a popular tune. Like how would I play Chronics or a Damien or whosoever is popular at the time. Just play them. Just play them. You know. Because we have some of them who will play regular, you know. People who listen to the cutting edge know, so we have some of them who will keep playing like record, but, you know, we want to do them more often. Because sometimes the music overshadow the whole purpose of what we really are doing, even though the music is good. But these little clips with information is I think is what the people them want to hear. You know, what it's about that. Yeah, man. So you guys know, we soon come forward, you know. Yes, 2 o'clock with the stepping razor, the art of war. My brethren, when me and him always attack, and I give him a long time tonight because we call him back.